Good day. We are coming on the air with breaking news about a deadly shooting. This in Midtown Atlanta. And now there is a manhunt underway for the suspect. At least one person is dead. 4 others are injured, according to police. It all began around 12:30 Eastern time at the start of the busy lunchtime rush and unfolded at a hospital complex called Northside Medical Midtown. There's an enormous police presence right now, also SWAT teams with medics. Also an armored car. Authorities have shut down the area. They're telling people nearby to shelter in place, lock where they are and shelter in place. There are some evacuations, however, we have seen. This is a photograph of the individual police believe may be the suspect, this person on the loose and considered armed and dangerous. Several schools in the area have closed out of an abundance of caution. We understand there has been no exchange of gunfire, no gunfire from the initial shots fired by this individual. Let's go to Katie Beck right now. She's our correspondent near the scene. Katie, what can you tell us? What have you seen?
Well, Lester, it's an eerie scene here in Midtown. This is an area that is filled with condos and corporate businesses, all right now at a standstill. A heavy police presence, SWAT teams on the ground, helicopters in the sky as they search for the active shooter that is responsible. Now, it is a bit strange to be here and see absolutely no one on the streets and see no traffic. But as you can see behind me, an enormous police response. That down there is the area where that medical building that you referenced is located. And as you can see, emergency personnel have surrounded it and the blocks all around it. This is typically a very busy area, lots of foot traffic. There's certainly at this time of the day, in the middle of the day in Atlanta, but right now the entire city has basically been placed on hold as they search for a suspect. Now, we know this call came in about 12:30 this afternoon. Since that time, businesses and individuals have been told to get inside buildings and shelter in place. As you walk through the streets here in Atlanta, you can see people at the windows sort of looking out, checking their phones, trying to make phone calls. Anyone trying to get out of the city at this point is going to have a difficult time doing that because these streets are completely blocked with SWAT vehicles and police presence. So again, we know that there are 5 victims. 4 of them have been transported to the hospital. 1 is deceased. And again, an active shooter that police are actively looking for at this time.
Katie, as you were talking, we saw some video of people wearing medical scrubs being led away. Is this like, I guess, so many urban medical centers that we're familiar with, that it's actually a collection, a series of interconnected buildings?
Yeah, this is part of a larger hospital chain here in the Atlanta area. This is sort of a satellite building to a larger hospital network. We're not exactly sure what type of doctor's office environment this was. All we know is that it happened inside of this building, and since that time, police have been just sort of doing a grid search from the air and the ground, trying to locate this person and trying to keep as many people out of the streets as possible. As you walk down the streets, you can hear police saying, "Get back inside, get away," sending out Amber Alerts on people's phone, letting them know, shelter in place, sort of a high intensity situation here on the ground for the folks that are in Midtown currently.
All right, Katie, I'll ask you to stand by. I want to play some of the witness interviews we've heard, people who were in the area, about what they saw and heard. Let's listen.
I come to Whole Foods. When I walked out of the building, all I see was police cars and SWAT, and everybody's just pulling up, back to back. And my supervisor was right there at the time, and he was like, "Hey, make sure you stay close to the walls and stand back because we heard this active shooting." We just saw a lot of
one of the accounts of someone who was in the neighborhood describing what they saw and heard. Let's get to NBC News law enforcement analyst Jim Kavanaugh. Jim, I think we all feel like we're more knowledgeable about this sort of thing than we were several years ago. You've got people that have been told to stay in place, to lock down in place. At what point does that become a hindrance to officers who are doing a very dangerous, presumably room-by-room search for the suspect?
Well, it's the best thing you can do in this point in a situation like this is to lock down and barricade, because you don't know where the rampaging active killer is. So you lock your own space, you barricade the doors, and you get down and you can monitor your smartphone or your television for news and wait for police commands. That's the safest thing if you're in a building of this size. If you can't escape, and it'd probably be hard to escape it if you don't know where the killer is at that point. So that's the right thing to do. Atlanta SWAT is clearly inside. Search searching and pressing to contact the killer. That's the job, you know, press, 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 move as fast as you can. We were all trained to even step over wounded people. Keep moving, because you have to contact the killer, because the job is to locate him, isolate him, and then you can evacuate behind him and then eliminate the threat by his arrest, his surrender, or even if you have to shoot him. So it's locate, isolate, evacuate, eliminate the threat, and that's what the on-scene commanders are doing.
And police made these photos you're looking at right now available. They believe this is the individual who fired the weapon. Will this be, will surveillance cameras be their primary way of kind of at least getting some idea what part of the hospital this person is in?
Yes, of course it will, and witnesses who might have streamed out. And also the first patrol officers, Lester, they stream in very quickly. You know, we all know the active shooter drills. We just saw the cameras, body cameras from the Nashville PD when they streamed into that school. So they'll stream in there fast, and they're looking for, you know, wounded people, listening for gunfire, trying to isolate and locate this guy. And then when SWAT arrives, they're going to come in and take over from patrol officers, and they're going to press to contact as quick as they can. And then, of course, more SWAT is going to arrive from the state police and the federal agencies like FBI and ATF. So they're going to have a lot of SWAT teams there that can deal with that large facility. There's been no shooting for a while, so there's a lot of possibilities there that could be. He could be dead, he could be hiding, he could have escaped, he could be holding people, and the on-scene commanders, you know, have to deal with all that.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.